Hi there, I'm John from CNCKing.com, and today we make a custom pottery embossing stamp. Strangely, through the years, I've made a ton of these, but it's the first time that I get actually an embossing stamp that's 3 inches in diameter for pottery. Generally what we do is around 1.5 inches to 2 inches. It's not because of the limitations at our shop, it's just because the customer just needs to put a little mark on the work that they do. In this case here, it's 3 inches across, diameter, same thing. And because of the size of it, usually when you're doing pottery, your fingers are kind of slippery and they're full of clay and stuff like that. So I decided to make a little holder here out of the same material. So this is 1/4 inch acrylic, 1/4 inch acrylic, 1/4 inch acrylic, and it's all laser cut. So holding it like this might be a little bit difficult. So I made a little holder here to make sure your hands are nowhere near, so the embossing is a little bit easier. I guess I could technically do that for smaller stamps, but you don't really need to because it's easy enough to hold and be out of the way when you do the embossing. Now, I've done a lot of videos of making these custom embossers, and a common question I get is why do I use acrylic over other materials? The reason for acrylic is because it's very cost effective. You get a lot of different colors of it, and you can also get a lot of different thicknesses. So it's very malleable material. And of course, when you have something wet on acrylic, there's no effect. As if, if I made this out of MDF, then you have an issue. Other options, of course, would be metal. We can make that in the shop. If you wanted this in stainless steel, I can make that for you. Another popular one is Delrin or acetal. That's pretty good as well. And again, it all depends on the pressures and the applications, how often you use it. If you have an embossing stamp that you just use maybe once a week, or production runs, you use it for a couple hours on a Friday and then again a couple hours next Friday, acrylic is more than fine. But if you're going 24/7 production and you need an embosser that's going to last, that's where acetal comes into place. That's where other sort of plastics and even metals come into place because of their durability and their resistance to just abrasion. Because you got to remember, clay is a very soft material, yes, but it's also an abrasive material. It has lots of little particles in it, and those little particles do eventually wear out the acrylic. But for the cost to embossing, acrylic is tough to beat. Most of the embossing stamps I make for pottery, specifically, generally we don't go more than 1/8 of an inch. Sometimes we go a bit deeper to 1/4 inch, but generally what you want to do is just sort of put it in. I'll hold it the correct way for this one here. So you put it in and then you just shake it a little bit and you pull it out. And I found acrylic works really, really well like that because it doesn't tend to stick to the pottery. You can make these out of literally anything. And so far acrylic has been the best material feedback-wise that the customers have used. So what are your limitations design-wise? Well, because it's an embossing, we can pretty much do anything that you want on it. We can also reverse it. So in this case here, the customer wanted this to be, the indent, so that means that's the out dent, so to speak. So what you see here engraved is actually the reverse of what will result on the pottery that they do. So when it comes to your design limitations, there aren't really any design limitations when it comes to making this kind of stuff. And if also you wanted additional little holes or stuff like that to put other markings, or make something where you take out elements, you put other elements in, we can do that for you just as well. So if you're looking for custom pottery stamps, any font, any size, any sort of imagery, vectors work out best because they're not jagged, so black and white vectors work great. Just contact me at CNCKing.com. We'll make them for you and ship them right to your door.